Let me tell you something right off the bat, Tief. You think loneliness is just a phase you grow out of, you haven't lived long enough. I'm not saying that to be dramatic. I'm saying that because sometimes life pulls the rug out from under you so gently, you don't even feel the fall until you're flat on your back, staring up at a ceiling that used to echo with laughter. That's where I was. I didn't know it yet, but I was about to learn that you can love someone with your whole heart and still be invisible the second money is on the table. Yeah, that happened. So, picture this. I'd spent almost 3 decades in the same quiet old farmhouse on the edge of town, the kind of place where every creak and groan of the wood meant something. The same porch swing where my late husband used to read the paper, the same kitchen where my kids Michael and Clara once fought over who got the blue cup. I was 74, not exactly a spring chicken, but stubborn enough to keep that place running, even after William passed and the holidays turned into silent, single-plate affairs. It wasn't perfect, but it was home. You know what I mean? That morning, I was curled up in my favorite armchair, wrapped in a shawl, sipping the weakest chamomile tea you could imagine. Flu had wiped me out that winter when the phone buzzed. Michael's name, my son, who called just often enough to keep hope alive, never often enough to make it real. I picked up, pretending to sound perky, like the mom who used to wake him up for school. He asked about my health, my appetite, the weather. He even remembered I'd been sick, which, God help me, made my heart swell. He said, "Just checking in, Ma. Thinking about you." I ate it up, every crumb. But as soon as I hung you pat least, I thought Dee heard his voice again, clearer than I wanted. "She's still okay?" Damn. Thought she'd be weaker by now. My hand froze, cold as stone. Guess we'll have to wait longer to sell that land. Make sure I'm the one calling her more. Don't want her getting any ideas about splitting it with Clara. And somewhere in the background, his wife laughed, like this was just any old business transaction. You ever get hit so hard by the truth that you just sit there, unable to cry, unable to move? I just stared at the dust in the sunlight, listening to the memory of my own voice in that family portrait above the fireplace. Me, Michael, Clara, and William, his hand on their shoulders. My smile that thought love was an investment that always paid out in the end. Guess I miscalculated. And if you think that was the end of it, think again. Not 5 minutes later, Clara called, her voice all sweetness, asking about my health, suggesting I move in with her in the city. Maybe we could sell the old land, Mama. Buy something nice up here. She didn't even pretend it was about me. Not really. I just listened, thanked her, and hung up. Then I sat there for what felt like years, hearing echoes of my children's laughter from decades ago, wondering how love got so tangled up with real estate and bank balances. That night, I packed a suitcase. Left a note. "I'm safe, just need a little time away." Don't worry. I wasn't running away, not really. I just couldn't stand to sit around waiting to be remembered by people who'd already moved on. I took a bus south, no destination, just a need to breathe somewhere new. I wandered through towns where nobody knew my name, sat in diners where the coffee tasted like burnt hope, watched families at park benches, and tried not to wonder what went wrong. Eventually, I landed in a small town tucked between rolling hills, one of those places where night falls hard and cold. No hotels, nowhere to stay, so I just kept walking until my legs gave out by the side of a gravel road. Now, this is where the universe stepped in, maybe with a wink, maybe just a sigh. Headlights cut through the darkness. An old pickup rumbled to a stop, and out stepped Marcus and Tanya Harris, with their daughter Lily half asleep in the back seat. Tanya took one look at me and dropped to her knees. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" I nodded barely. She squeezed my hand and said, "We're going to take you home. You're safe now." And I believed her. Their house was nothing like mine-cracked shutters, a tin mailbox shaped like a chicken, the smell of cornbread and laundry soap hanging in the air. They wrapped me in blankets, gave me tea, and Lily, that beautiful child, offered me her last piece of toast smeared with strawberry jam. "It's okay, you can have mine. It's the best part." She said it so simply that all the hurt, all the loneliness, cracked wide open and poured out in tears I didn't even know I was carrying. She just hugged me and let me cry. Marcus made omelets. Tanya fussed over me like I was her own mother, and Lily told me all about her drawings in school. There was laughter, real, unforced. I told Tanya my story, halting and ashamed, about the phone calls, about my kids seeing me as an inconvenience, and she just held my hand and said, "You are not alone. Not today." Let me tell you, that meant more than any apology. Days passed. One turned into two, then a week. I helped with laundry, shelled peas, listened to Marcus hum old songs as he fixed the porch. I wasn't just some old lady anymore. I was part of something real. Lily even prayed for me at dinner. "You could be my grandma if you want." I never had one. What do you even say to that? You just cry and squeeze her hand and hope the moment never ends. But, nothing lasts forever. After a couple of months, I stayed that lunch and knew it was time to go. I didn't make a fuss. Just left quietly, pressed a kiss to Lily's forehead, hugged Tanya and Marcus, and thanked them for giving me back a piece of myself I thought was gone forever. I walked down that same dirt road, suitcase in hand, but lighter. I knew kindness still existed. I had lived it. Fast forward a year, Harris family comes home from the market, finds a package on their porch. Inside is a letter from meddling them how much their kindness saved me, how I'd thought of them every single day. There's money, too, a lot more than they expected, enough for Lily's school, for fixing up the house, for whatever they need. Not as payment, but as thanks. Real thanks, the kind you only get to give once. Meanwhile, back in my old town, my kids Michael and Clara walked into an empty house, their inheritance gone, except for a letter. I told them I'll love them, always would, but love isn't about waiting for someone to die so you can sell what's left. It's about showing up, being there, loving because you want to, not because you're keeping score. When it was all said and done, I had a modest headstone under an old oak tree. It read, "She found peace and kindness." No funeral, no big send-off. I didn't need it. I'd already found what mattered. And if you ask me, that's worth more than any house, any land, any pile of cash. So let me ask you, now that you know my story, what would you have done? Is family just who you're born to? Or who finds you when you're lost? Does kindness still count in a world that measures everything in dollars and cents? Yeah, I want to hear what you think. Drop a comment, let's talk about what really matters.